for you to go to anywhere that you have internet connection and work from there. It has no commute time, so I think it's very important, especially for me. I don't like to spend time commuting from home to work. So it makes things easier, especially in the morning. For me, I also think that I have less interruptions. So last week I was saying that time was going quite fast, despite being at home all the time. And I think that's because I have less interruptions. So I think it really works for me that way. And you're free. So you're not stuck to a place. And research on the University of New Hampshire has found that 35% of rural countries in the States are experiencing some significant population loss in the center of the country. So I think remote work also allows people to go back to the rural regions and to go away from crowded urban areas. So I think remote work has a lot of advantages. Personally, I've had different remote work experiences. So we have worked with companies. I do software development most of the time, and I've worked with companies that also do software development in other countries. So we have distributed teams, and that's some kind of remote work. But remote work can have many faces. You can do remote work when you're traveling. I've been in the dog patch labs some time ago, and I stayed there for a couple of days. And while I was there, I had to stay working with people that was in the office. So that's a different kind of remote work. And a few weeks ago, this option would make no sense, but now we must be prepared. So if in case a pandemic virus requires everyone to stay at home, you will have to remote work. So that's another kind of remote work. And so I'd like to show three key concepts that I think are key to have a good remote work: processes, tools, and rules. And this is especially important for the management side of managing remote work. So remote work will not work if you don't manage it well. And I think processes, tools, and rules are very important. So let's look at these three concepts very fast. So you need good processes, well-oiled processes. You need to stick to the methodology. So in the beginning, you must have a plan, you execute, and you iterate by the end. You need to improve on your solution. That's also very important because you won't get it done the first time. Probably you'll need to keep on improving. It's also important to everyone on the same boat, no matter what you do. I would advise you not to follow an ad hoc process. So you should follow a process that is clear to everyone, so everyone is on the same boat. And you must be careful with meetings, especially when you're remote, because it's very easy for you to do a meeting and not to share your conclusions with everyone else. And if you're working with a remote team, it's very important to have clear communication channels that you all use, so everyone stays on board. And what meetings do you do? I always think it's important to do a meeting with everyone on the beginning of the day in the morning. We call it the daily stand-up. We try to make it fast and to go to the pain points of everyone. We also try to do meetings of retrospective to discuss the process and see how it goes, how we can work on the process and how to improve the process, and also do one-on-one meetings. So we can talk individually with everyone to feel individual pains of everyone. You have to decide when should it take place and who should attend, and these are important decisions. And I also would advise you to do time-boxed meetings, because then you can control the time, and schedule is very important, especially when you're working remotely. So there's two other things that I was saying that are very important besides the processes. It's tools and rules. So for the tools, there are really a lot of tools, but I think the most important things to cover are hardware. You must have a computer and a good webcam, and a great headset and headphones. So because you're always talking, always on conference calls, so that's very important. And to have a good internet connection, that's also essential. But these are the basics. So on the software side, I think security is a problem. There has been many reports of security problems inside companies, specific exploits and malware that are targeting companies with flawed security systems and processes, especially in this time that people are working remotely. So I think you should really pay attention to this point. You should have an antivirus, use encryption, use websites with HTTPS that encrypt your traffic. Use password managers. That's very, very important. Do not share passwords on clean text through email or on a messenger. It's not a good practice. So I would advise you to use a password manager to do backups. Maybe use a VPN or network monitoring if you work on a big company. So those are key essential things to pay attention now, especially now that people are targeting this kind of company, because they don't have remote processes, so they're more exposed to this kind of ransomware, malware, and exploits. I also think Calendar is one of the most important tools that I use. So Calendar allows you to have your whole schedule, your entire schedule defined. You'll follow it throughout the day. And if you use it correctly, you can automate many things like warnings, invitations to meetings. I also, if you see in this image, we have already, when we create a meeting, the video call is simultaneously created. So you don't need to make anything. The program just creates the video call, and that's very important because it makes it easier to work. Your communication tools are also very important. You'll use email. You can use some kind of chat to communicate asynchronously. You'll use video conferences. I would advise you not to use WhatsApp or Messenger or that kind of software that you usually use to communicate with your friends. So you need to choose wisely the tools that you're going to use, and this is very important. And this is really different from case to case. File storage nowadays is also very important. You'll have a centralized repository of all your documents, and you'll be able to work with everyone at the same time. So I think Office 365 and Google Drive are very important tools nowadays that make it easier to collaborate while creating documents, especially. Boards for board management. So at Pink Room, we have this kind of cards. And this is a task, so I must do an application form. It has the time, the due time. We can we can communicate inside the card, and there are people that are going to work on this card. So the board looks something like this. You have the entire process defined, and you have a lot of tasks. So for me, it's really easy to look at this and understand what is happening at any time of the week, and to see who is working on what and when should it be finished. There are many types of software that you can use, but I'm just going to show you one more, like whiteboards. This is Miro, and you can use it just to whiteboard anything and to create diagrams, to put spreadsheets, and it makes it easy because everyone can be in the board at the same time and change it at the same time. So it makes it easier to discuss and to go through topics. Also, you should have clear and concise rules. Remember that you need to share information asynchronously with people that maybe don't follow the same, that are not in the same time zone. So sometimes you have to work asynchronously. So use the proper tools and use the tools properly. So if you have a board, a management board, be sure that you have all your files connected to the board. Don't spread your information through every place. Use the tools as they are supposed to be used on your process. We defend that you should not have long discussions through text. So if a discussion is going too much time, just go for a call and do a quick call. It's easier for discussions, but be sure that you share the conclusions of those meetings with everyone. Also, pay special attention to etiquette rules, because most of the times you have never been with someone that you are in the chat, so they don't know you, they don't know how you are. So the way you say some phrases, pay special attention to that. It's very important, so everyone stays motivated and feel that they are important to the team. And also set real clear decision-making rules. So I've been talking about some good things about remote work and how to do it, but there are some key challenges, because despite all advantages, remote work isn't for everyone. It can have disadvantages for potential employees, depending on their lifestyle and work preferences, as well as the organization. So let's highlight just some counterpoints and solutions to those challenges. So the biggest struggles working remotely, and I felt most of this, but a recent study from last year says that 22% of the people have trouble unplugging from work. 19% suffers from loneliness, 17% have difficult communicating, 10% say that they have a lot of distractions at home. And so I think these are the most important things to tackle, and I want to give some specific advice on how to manage this. All right, so here we go, the best practices. Keep your routine. It's very important to keep your routine. For me, I get dressed the same way as I did before, shower. Now you cannot go on the streets, but I think you need to keep your routine. That's very important for you to stay motivated and to stay sharp. Create a schedule. Creating a schedule and sticking to the plan will help you go throughout the day, because there's a lot of things to do and sometimes things can look messy. So sticking to the plan really helps on that. Having a dedicated workspace, create your corner in the house. Try to keep a different workspace from the one that you used to relax. So just get a desk, a chair, a comfortable one, and create your setup. If you usually work with a monitor or 2 external monitors, you should have it, so you can get as much comfortable as you can. Keep your life separate. Set boundaries, so don't mix your work life with your home life, and this is very difficult to do, especially if you live with someone else and now you're isolated in your house with that person. So these are very important things to pay attention to and to try to manage, especially if you see warning signals. Take breaks. You can follow the Pomodoro technique. That's a technique where you for 25 minutes and have Oh, sorry, can you hear me? All right.
Yes.
Take breaks, like I was saying, sorry. The Pomodoro technique defines a 25-minute working time and then a 5 minutes interval. So you can choose the way you prefer to work, but it's advised that you do a lot of breaks. Try to automate recurring tasks like payments and insurances, because those are tasks that you lose a lot of time, and there are a lot of tools that you can use to automate those tasks. Some more advices like avoiding procrastination is easy to say, but it's more difficult to do. And in the Q&A, we can discuss how we can do it properly. Save household chores for later. Don't start cleaning everything. So stick to the plan. Try to exercise. It's also very important because you are at your home. So probably you won't think about that, but it's really important for you to exercise if you want to stay sharp. Try to make human contacts, even if it's just through a video call. Just do a quick call with your friends like you used to after lunch when you were talking to your friends. If you cannot do it in person now, just try to do it by call. That's also very important. And configure your setup correctly, because sometimes you feel back pains or neck pains, and then you just realize that your monitor wasn't in the right position, or your chair was too high or too low. So sometimes you understand that those small details make a big difference by the end of the day. And the last suggestion is just improve the onboarding experience. And this is especially for managers, because when you're working remotely, it's more difficult to onboard people on the company. So if you create a handbook, for instance, it will make it easier for people that join the company, especially during this phase, to know how to proceed and how to work. So just to sum it up, just some quick conclusions on the things that I've been saying. All right. So I think you should frame all of this as an opportunity. Despite everything that that is going on, there are many things that you can make from this. And like we were discussing in the beginning, there are really, really good things that you can get from remote work. Not only now, but on the long road, there are a lot of possibilities that remote work opens. So despite you're following remote work now, pay attention to it in the future, and maybe it will make a difference in your company. And set a plan, stick to the process, define good tools for your problem and rules. Stay conscious about the remote challenges and actively work to improve it. Remember that you need to unplug from work, that you need to fight loneliness, not only yours, but your collaborators also, so people that work with you. Work on communication, because this is always difficult while working remotely. Do not get distracted, and that's it. Thank you very much.
Very good.
All right, I think this was in a quite fast pace. So let's go to the questions.
Yeah, go on. Gago.
Okay, Mario, congratulations on your presentation. It was quite enlightening on some of the aspects. You've mentioned that you don't suggest to work with WhatsApp and Messenger as a working tool. Why is that, may I ask?
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me correctly? Because I've changed that. Perfect.
No.
All right. So since I also use Messenger and WhatsApp to talk with friends, sometimes you can send the wrong message, just misclick or something that might happen. And also because there are more appropriate tools to work that have different features. For instance, threading. You can create threads from different topics to discuss a specific topic, and in WhatsApp or in Messenger, you cannot do it. You can reply to messages, but you not create threads to discuss a specific topic. So I think that using tools that first you don't use to talk to your friends, and that have specific features that really help you throughout the day on remote work.
Okay, but this more for your collaborators, because for instance, on my perspective, I work a lot on a working basis with clients, and I talk with clients a lot through WhatsApp, both WhatsApp calls, video conferences, but it's like a one-on-one scenario.
Yeah, so
it's a different thing.
What happens to me is that if the client really wants to use WhatsApp, that I'm going to use WhatsApp, and I talk to 2 or 3 clients through WhatsApp, because it's their solution, it works for them, so I just get used to it. But especially like you were saying, to talk and to manage communication with my team, I really prefer to use a different tool, and a tool that allows me to do and organize the information in different ways.
Okay, thank you.
But
Oh, you're welcome.
actually, Mario, you mentioned that not in very much details, but I think one of the challenge working remotely is to manage a team. If you have people working for you or working with you, I think that's probably the most challenge. And you shared that calendar where you have everybody tasked. And I wonder if you could talk a little bit more about that. You know, how would you manage remotely a team? I mean, did you have regular meetings? Do you let them work, and then you assess the progress individually or as a group? Yeah, exactly that. You know, that's I think personally, I think that's the most challenging things to do is to manage your team remotely.
Yeah, that's true. It's very difficult to manage, especially if everyone is remotely. So for us, we just stick to our methodology and to our processes. That's the most important thing. And in our processes, we have a daily meeting, a daily stand-up meeting. We try to make it in 15 minutes, just for everyone to talk about their pain points and how we can help them. And we try to make it as fast as we can. Then we have a meeting, a planning meeting. We don't make it every week. We make it from 2 to 2 weeks. And that's when we plan the 2 weeks ahead. So I think planning on your process is also very important. Then we have meetings to discuss the process and how it goes, to see how we can improve on the process and see how we can make it work better. And one-on-one meetings. Those are also very important, because those one-on-one meetings are individual meetings, and those allow you to discuss with your colleagues things that they're feeling and that you might improve on the company. So I think one-on-one meetings are very important. Here on this is Trello. This is like a set of boards that we use. Mm-hmm. We have, this is our process, more or less. We have like backlog is all the tasks that we have to do are the tasks that we are doing that are supposed to be done in those 2 weeks that we've planned. Doing is what we are doing on that day. Review, it's what has been done, but it needs to be reviewed by someone else, and done is the tasks that are complete. And this allows me to, if I look at this board, I know how this project is going. So I have one of these boards for every project. We don't use Trello for all. We also use Asana and different boards softwares. But again, this depends on what the client prefers. So we let the client choose the tools, and then we just adapt to it. But I think it's important for your management platform to mirror your process, so it makes it easier for you to move on during the process.
Okay.
Mario, I have
The
a question.
document you have there, it's a Google document, no?
It's a
Yeah.
Where?
The one that you have on screen.
it's Trello, yes.
No, that's the
Trello.
presentation. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. This is Trello. Well, the presentation was made with the slides from Google Drive, but the software, this image, is from Trello, and is the software that we use to manage the tasks that we need to do.
Okay,
Mario,
and that's the one you would recommend.
It really depends on your situation. So it depends on your case and why do you need it, who is going to use it. So we can talk a little bit about that afterwards, and you can tell me about your problem, and I'll try to tell you what's the best solution for it.
Okay.
Mario, I have a question. This is Trello, of course, it's Kanban, and you use it as an agile team. As you know, agile team, we have 5 to 10 people, yes? I want to know about the other one that you talked. It's for other process and other clients. Which one do you use after Trello? I use Trello also, but for bigger teams. Which one do you use?
I have used Trello, Asana.
I don't know it. It's for bigger teams.
Yeah, you can use for bigger teams. I can. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Do you still see the presentation, or do you see the
screen?
No?
Okay.
Yeah. So this is Asana.
It's okay.
Kind of the same thing. It works very well for big teams. We've been working with this platform on a project for a Portuguese bank.
Okay.
But it's kind of the same thing. It has different features, but like in the previous one, you can see that we have a backlog for the tasks that you do.
The Kanban. Yes.
Exactly. It doesn't need to be Kanban. Well, Trello is a Kanban tool, but we follow a Scrum approach.
Yes,
it's also an agile methodology, but we prefer a Scrum approach, and we try to tweak the Kanban board to our needs. Okay. So you can make many things of this, especially with Trello, because you have you can add extensions. Some are paid, but you can add one for free. So
I have one.
That also helps. Yeah, it's perfect.
Do you use waterfall also in some projects or not?
No,
you don't use it because you're agile. Yes.
Yeah, we try to make agile as much as we can, and we've not been working on waterfall. There's a specific project that we've been doing with the European Space Agency, which has different needs. So it's not the waterfall, but it's like a cycled waterfall. That you have iterations, but you don't go through the requirements every time.
Okay. Another question, Mario, sorry. You have another screen with your configuration and the calendar and everything. The other one that you show. It's
this
yours?
One?
No, the other one. With all the spectrum, no, the other one that you use. It's your own.
Sorry, this one?
No. Yes, this one. How do you work? This is yours. This is your.
No, this is not. This is not ours. Well, we use the Miro software, and I think it's a very powerful tool. I just didn't got mine because we have the project that we use it for. We cannot share the images, so I just got some image from their website. But it's a really powerful tool because everyone can stay inside the website editing. Yes. Exactly, and it makes it simpler to discuss and to share ideas.
That's a good one. I didn't know this one. How is this one is called?
Miro. It's just a second. Miro, yeah, yes. Whiteboard platform for distributed teams. But yeah, it's this one.
That's good. Yes. Mirror. Okay. This one.
And you can make a lot of different things with it.
Okay.
So after, like I said to Arnold, after the meeting, if you have specific questions on softwares, we can discuss it a little bit, and I can give you my perspective on this, all these different softwares, because there are a lot of different platforms that you can use.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Fatima. All right. Any more questions? Guillaume? I can see in your eyes that you're curious.
It's always you.
It's always me, like starting and ending. Maybe a question about video conferencing tools. So a few years ago, everybody was doing WebEx, and then this almost disappears. And then we use JoinMe. That I'm not sure it still exists. And then now is everybody on Zoom or on Hangouts, Google Hangouts. Do you have any thoughts on the best, or what you would recommend, or anything specific about video conferencing tools?
Yeah, it really depends on your situation. Like every software, you need to tailor make your solution. So you need to choose the set of tools that are better for you. On the video call softwares, I really think Zoom is a good option. I've also used Jitsi, because you can have your own instance, so you can have your own server, and for some security reasons and for some projects that helps. But I think Zoom, WebEx, are the most usual solutions for, especially for big companies. Whereby is this one, I really like Whereby, especially for small teams. Their free plan is really good for small teams. After the presentation, Arnold will give you the slides, and I have links for everything in here. So
great.
Thank you.
But I think Whereby also is a really good team. And I use Hangouts because I have an integration with Calendar. And when I create an event on Calendar and I invite people inside, it automatically creates the video call and shares it with everyone. So I think it makes it easier for me.
But you don't need to have a Google account to access to a Hangout. You know, you can just click on the link and launch it. In Pink Room, we have G Suite. G Suite, it makes it easy. It's like the package that they sell to companies with Gmail, Hangouts, Google Drive, all the softwares that you can use on Google Drive. And I think that having that centralized information, it makes it really, really simple to the onboarding process. Because you just need to add one email. So you hire someone, you add one email to the sharing folder on Drive, and he has access to everything. He has their email, they have the folder with every file of the company. So I think that makes it easier, especially for onboarding. No, indeed, indeed. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Sharon?
Yes, I'm curious about, you know, from the personnel point of view, because obviously the tools and the processes are wonderful. But what I've noticed from speaking to people is that, you know, some people who are used to remote working all of a sudden have their families at home with them. And, you know, they're finding the stress levels are going up and up, because it's great. Normally they would be on their own because kids are at school or whatever, and all of a sudden they don't have that designated workspace, or you have people coming into it, and you try to control it, but it doesn't work that well. So what advice are you giving people in that situation?
So that's
apart from tying up the children and putting sellotape on their mouth.
That's a very, very difficult question, especially for me, because I don't have children. But I think that setting the rules in the beginning will make it easier while going down the road. Have clear rules, have everyone on board on what you're doing and on your schedule. So sharing your schedule
with your family might create so they can understand what do you need to do in what time and when are you free to be with them. So, but that's a very difficult question. If anyone wants to share an idea, any suggestion.
I think the most important is to, if you can, is to have a room where you can, you know, kind of isolate it yourself and you know, have the door closed, and this is your space in the house to work. I think that's the best, if you can, that's the best thing to do.
I do have 2 kids and I'm with them. I'm fortunate enough to have an office at home, but what I do is I leave the door open most of the time,
right,
and I close it when I can't be interrupted at all. So they know. I give them enough space to kind of signal. They don't just come in and disrupt me, but they know they can talk with me if I'm with the door open, and if the door is closed, they don't even knock.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi. First of all, I would like to apologize for my delay in arriving to the conference. It was very, very interesting, your presentation, especially because my company is a company of currency exchange. And here in Portugal, most of our clients like the personal contact. And they even, sometimes I have to go to their houses and talk with them and explain how it works. But with this actual situation, we are doing a lot from home. And this kind of, for me, new technology and remote work, it's very interesting. I'm one that has kids at home, small kids, and I'm on my own. So sometimes you can see a head passing by. I don't have an office at home that I can put them away. Sometimes I try to put them away. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. But we can do, the most we can do is to deal with schedules, and try to make them understand that now we are in a different situation and they need to understand that. But this is very interesting, this kind of presentations, and to see that it's in fact possible to work from home. But it's, in fact, for me, I think it's new times and new world is coming, and we need to be prepared for it, and we need to change. And these kind of works that you do and these kind of companies are here to help us all to move forward and to go ahead with this new time. There's a lot of questions that I will have to ask you maybe later. But I believe this is very interesting, and I congratulate you for this kind of work that you are doing. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you very much, Elizabeth.
Can I just add something? Elizabeth, you were saying that you don't have a working space dedicated at home and you have kids, and sometimes you can have a hand waving by. I'm working from home, and I've been doing a lot of telephone contacts with other people that are working from home as well, both lawyers, bank managers, etc., because of deals that are still progressing. And we can see on the background children playing, etc. I think because of this times, and is generic, it's worldwide, even people that are receiving calls and would have some background noise, they will understand and will be okay with it. You know, it's nothing that we have to be concerned that, oh, I have a kid. Obviously, if we can set the boundaries and have our dedicated space, we can work better. But at the same time, I think there is flexibility and understanding from the other side who's receiving calls as well.
Yes, thank you so much for that. In fact, we are in a special moment at this time. So yeah, everything is different than the normal remote work.
Yeah, everybody has to adapt a little bit. And yeah.
I've also spoken to people who have, you know, you spoke about keeping to your routine, but particularly when you have smaller kids at home, sometimes it's really helpful to actually change the routine a little bit to accommodate them, because maybe when they're having naps, or they sleep till a certain time, or they go people are a lot more flexible with their routine. I understand it's really important to keep to normal working hours, but sometimes, because when you have younger children around, my children are 15 and 13, so it's easier. But what I find is, because they're homeschooling, my 13-year-old she's so used to collaborating, which is wonderful, but she wants me to collaborate with her. So it's just creating the boundaries. But what I've also noticed is other friends doing is asking, where it's possible, is to move the normal meeting times, that would take place, to certain times where it's their downtime, or so that if it's an important call, that people will understand that it's actually the best moment to get the best from you. It's to be more flexible about the timings of meetings.
Yeah, I definitely that might work, and different solutions can work for different people. And like I said before, I don't have that much experience with kids, but
you could borrow some afterwards.